There's something that's been very annoying every single console release up to this point, especially when a new generation starts or a highly sought after collector's edition is released, and that has to do with video game scalpers, which really they gained the advantage when we started to have to primarily buy these things online rather than have to go to a store and wait in line or at least pre-order there at the counter. When you're just ordering stuff off of a website, we see what happens with bots just absolutely bombarding checkout and even at times getting the item out of your cart before you're able to fully check out. Well, it looks like we have what I think is a pretty funny situation because of a lot of the annoyances they've caused us, the resellers and scalpers, over the last, at this point, almost more than about a decade or so. More than half a decade, certainly with this current generation. But anyway, what's going on here is the PlayStation 5 Pro is, of course, available now, and it seemed like scalpers maybe thought things would go a bit better than it currently is, because right now it seems like stuff backfired badly on them. We're going to go over that here today. So if you guys enjoy this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. So this was brought up here by VGC, and they are citing Otaku Research Institute in Japan. Scalpers looking to capitalize on the release of the PS5 Pro are struggling to make a profit due to its generally ready availability. I don't know if you've looked around today, but it's pretty easy to get a PS5 Pro. Like, I can go and pick it up in-store right now at a bunch of different retailers like Walmart, Target, Best Buy. It's pretty easy. You drop it in the cart online, and it's like, oh, pick up in an hour. Okay, so I assume even just walking in, it might even be up there behind the counter, obviously, because it's a $700 item, but like up and about, and you could just go buy one now, which is very different than what we've come to expect recently with new console launches. I think about when the PS5, the Xbox Series came out, even the Switch, right, back in 2017. Very, very difficult to find these things for a while. But it looks like not the case here. They were tracking Mercari, which is a similar like auction site like eBay, but they were having a hard time with the retail price even being more than $65, $130 more. They do correctly cite, however, as people tend to forget this, that there is a cut that is owed to that platform, in this case 10% for Mercari, and then if they pay with PayPal, there's usually a percentage there as well. So you see the initial sticker price, and then, okay, maybe there's free shipping. Well, they got to pay for that. And then there's this cut. They got to pay for that. So that's one of the reasons you'll end up at times seeing new items on places like eBay be a little bit more expensive because there is more they have to account for behind the scenes. So when I saw this, I thought, okay, maybe it's just specific to Mercari. Well, I went to eBay just to see, just to find out how it's going there. And the answer is it's not going well for scalpers. Now, this specifically are the sold listings, and I always tell people, look at the sold listings, not even just the completed listings, the sold listings. Any of the active listings right now can just be completely altered. You could find one that is $5,000, but no one's buying it, right? In this case, somebody did buy a $3,500 PlayStation 5 Pro 30th Anniversary Limited Edition bundle. Now, that was legitimately limited. Sony told us that, and it actually worked out well for people who bought it early to flip it for 2 to 3 times the amount that it was originally selling for. So, okay, in that case, they got one over on everyone there. But again, it was limited. In this case, though, with the PlayStation 5 Pro, while this is a $321 listing, I double-checked, it's one that it seemed like they ended it early, maybe because they weren't getting any bites with it, or they were like, okay, maybe I can do better if I list it a different way. But then you see, for example, this one, a new sealed PlayStation 5 Pro console. They say plus the DualSense wireless controller. I checked. It seems like it's just the one that's in the box. $749 with free shipping. They're losing money on that. And there's a cut for eBay and PayPal, and then there's shipping involved, which if you've shipped a system like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series, it's not cheap nowadays. All right. Now, the thing I have noticed, because again, scrolling through, they're $690 with $29.50 shipping on that. And then there's this one they crossed off because they just accepted the best offer, which honestly, if I was somebody scrolling through eBay, I'd probably be offering retail and maybe with free shipping. Like, that's it. Because at this point, they have to kind of start moving them because it didn't end up the way they thought it would, where it was just impossible to find them. Here's the thing, though. The part that they may actually have figured out and really done well with is the disk drive, but it's specific to the region. In this case, it's like, what, $80 to buy the thing, which I ended up getting mine off of Amazon as soon as I pre-ordered the PlayStation 5 Pro. So I just got mine for the $80 and it was prime shipped. But here, I mean, you could see some of these are over $100, $120. There's $120 with $27 shipping. And some people are saying that in their area, it's 2 to 3 times the amount. So it's between $200 to $300 for these disk drive, these attachments, which is it is a shame because this is a situation where Sony sees this as not necessarily an attachment or accessory that they have to manufacture heavily, like a ton, right? It's very specific to that PlayStation 5 Slim and Pro, and then specific to people who have that system that then also want to use physical media, which, as we know, is dwindling more and more every single year. Sony shows us that in their financials every single fiscal year, that yes, people are opting more and more for digital over physical. And in this case, it means that they're not necessarily going to create a ton of these disk drives, and we're kind of seeing the effect now. However, I do think Sony will have at least a somewhat decent restock heading into the holidays. So if you're someone sitting there right now with your PlayStation 5 Pro, unless there is a game that you have, or several games that are physical and you got to have it, well, I mean, in this case, technically $120 will get you a disk drive. But still, I think it's worth holding out here for this as opposed to just going out and trying to spend extra money to get it now. But it's interesting to see this now with the PlayStation 5 Pro, because I didn't think it would necessarily be a system that would absolutely light the world on fire with its demand and flying off store shelves. But I also kind of wondered if Sony would have been a bit more careful about how many they put out there, because this should be a low volume system for them. So maybe they did put out more than even I was expecting, or maybe the demand for this system really is a bit smaller than people were expecting. Somebody missed here with the resellers who were trying to double or triple the price on it. It's not happening. So I wouldn't be shocked if it is legitimately a situation of there's just a small pool of people right now who are willing to be early adopters for the PlayStation 5 Pro at that $700, $800, even if you want the disk drive price point. That kind of seems to make sense because it would be the most obvious answer at this time, but we'll see eventually. Sony should mention something when it comes to sales with the PS5 Pro to investors, I assume at their next report, but otherwise it would be the Circana report that would come out and tell us how they sold in the US specifically. But one thing's for sure, in terms of revenue, it'll probably bring in a decent amount because it's selling for $700. But yeah, there we go. We have scalpers who got burned a bit on the PS5 Pro. I do wonder if maybe with the next big game system release, they'll be a bit more hesitant maybe at checkout and give us a shot this time, at least coming up to maybe Nintendo's next system, or when Microsoft launches something new in the next year or two. Maybe there's that moment of hesitation, and we could check out with the item in our cart for once. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. I know the resellers and scalpers frustrate a lot of people in gaming, so yeah, it's probably good news for a lot of people. A lot of fun to see them maybe getting burned on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.